Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the Thoughts That Manifest podcast. I'm Elle, and I am a mindset and manifestation coach who aims to inspire you to awaken your mind to the limitless potential that is within you. For today's episode, I wanted to talk about how you can rewrite your story. And what do I mean by rewriting your story? So essentially, we all have a story that we tell ourselves. We all have thoughts which create our belief system, and then essentially that belief system and those thoughts are what creates our reality. But where do those thoughts and beliefs stem from? Usually they stem from your childhood, your painful experiences, the environment you grew up in, society, and the people who took care of you or whom you surrounded yourself with. It's really easy to let all of those things that I just mentioned have control over your thoughts and beliefs. But once you bring these beliefs into your awareness, you can rewire those beliefs so that they work in your favor and not against you. Because our limiting beliefs are what holds us back from obtaining the life that we desire to live. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. For a really long time, I had this belief that money was the root of all evil, that money causes problems, and that I was always afraid that I was never going to have enough money to live a stable life. I would look at people who were rich and I would think things like, wow, must be nice to have all that money, or must be nice to come from a wealthy family. I would think of rich as greedy and just evil. But the truth is, these limiting beliefs about money were created when I was a child. They were created through the environment in which I grew up in and the people that I was surrounded by. My parents were always arguing about money. The fights would always end with my dad slamming the door and leaving upset. It always felt like money was an issue, and people around me were always talking about money in a negative light. I watched my mom work really hard and burn herself out when my parents divorced, just to put food on the table and a roof over our head. You always hear things as a kid like, no, we can't afford this and we can't afford that. These were beliefs that were pushed upon me and created this narrative in my mind due to the personal experiences that I went through and the mindsets of those around me as a child. But when I started going through my healing journey and really learning about how to manifest, I started to rewrite this narrative. I realized that the limiting beliefs I have around money didn't have to be my beliefs. I could change them. I started learning about how money is just energy, and it's us as humans that give money meaning. And I actually have a whole podcast episode on how to manifest money, and I definitely recommend listening to it if you struggle with money mindset. So I realized that I wasn't able to manifest the money I desired because my limiting beliefs were holding me back. So when it comes to rewriting your story, it's all about figuring out what you truly want and then getting to the root of the stories that you tell yourself about why you can't have what you want or why you haven't gotten there yet. And in this episode, I want to help guide you through rewriting your story and finally allowing yourself to rewrite those limiting beliefs so that you can become a master manifester. So the first thing I want you to do is look at your current narrative. Grab a piece of paper and write out what your current reality looks like. How do you spend your day-to-day life? What do you do for work? How are your relationships, family, love, and friends? How about your money situation? And where do you currently live? Get as specific as you'd like. And then I want you to write out what your ideal reality looks like. That vision that you have for yourself that's in your mind. How would you ideally like to spend your day-to-day life? What does your ideal relationships look like? Family, love, and friendships. What job do you want to have? What about your home? Where would you be living? And again, you can get as specific as you'd like. And then I want you to just take a look between both your current narrative and your ideal narrative. What changes would you need to make in your current narrative to work towards that ideal narrative? Perhaps you realize, you aren't living in your ideal home yet, or your current job is not your ideal job. This is where those limiting beliefs come in. When you see that you don't have that ideal job, I want you to ask yourself why. And when you ask yourself why, what comes to mind? Write that down, because those will be your limiting beliefs that are holding you back. We often make excuses as to why we can't live out the life we want to live, and usually those excuses are based around some sort of fear or narrative that has been forced upon us either by family or society or the trauma we experienced in childhood. So once you have those limiting beliefs, it's all about finding solutions to those beliefs. Let's say you find that you don't have your ideal house because you don't have the money. Let's start there. Let's find a solution. The first tip I want to give is to try to not look at it from a lack mindset. If you are telling yourself, I don't have the money to buy my ideal home, this is a lack because you are looking at it from the perspective of, I don't have. Instead, let's look at it from a solution-based mindset. How can I bring in more income so I can save for my ideal home? This is where creativity comes in and you start brainstorming ways to make more money. Have you ever tried asking for a raise? So many people out there are afraid to ask for more. Instead, they keep working for the bare minimum because it keeps the peace. And this again can actually be a limiting belief that stems from childhood. Perhaps you were always told no when you were younger, so now you are afraid to hear no, so instead you'd rather not ask, or you automatically think that the answer is always going to be no. But what if you became fearless and you believed that you were worthy of a raise and you asked for that raise and you actually received it? And even if you do hear no, it's not the end of the world. It's going to be okay. Another example, maybe you work for yourself and you sell digital products. What if you started to charge more? A lot of content creators out there are afraid to raise their prices, but I promise those who are willing to pay the price will pay the price. Your ideal customer will find you when you believe in your product and you believe in your worth. Find solutions to those limiting beliefs. Okay, and now let's say you notice that in your ideal reality, you'd be eating healthier and cooking your own meals from home. But in your current reality, you find that you don't have the time to do this. Again, it's a lack mindset. Again, it's an excuse and a limiting belief. Let's find the solution. What habit can you eliminate that isn't as big of a priority for you as it is to eat healthier? Maybe it's watching an episode of Netflix. Well, what if you watched that Netflix episode on your phone while you cooked? When it comes to habits and doing things that deep down we know we should change, I like to ask myself, what is this habit costing me? Honestly, ask yourself, what is this habit costing me? And is it worth it? Is it holding me back from breaking a significant cycle that keeps me repeating and stuck? If I'm scrolling on social media a lot and I ask myself, okay, well, what is this costing me? Well, it's costing me that time that I could have spent cooking that meal that I really wanted to start making to get healthier. You see what I mean? So ask yourself that question the next time you find yourself doing a habit that deep down you want to change, but for some reason you keep making an excuse and you keep repeating those same bad habits. So let's do a small recap, okay? Number one, figure out what your ideal reality would be and take a look at what changes you need to make in your current reality in order to step into alignment with your ideal reality. 2, ask yourself why you haven't made these changes yet in order to bring awareness to those limiting beliefs that are holding you back from making those changes and working towards that ideal reality. 3, get to the root of your limiting belief because you really need to get to the root of the belief in order to dig it up and remove it completely. Where does this belief stem from? Who told you that this was reality? Who told you that this was truth? Okay, figure that out, figure out where it stems from, and then 4, reframe your limiting belief by turning it into a solution-based statement. Finding a solution to your limiting belief can help you rewrite it in a way that doesn't create a lack mentality because we want to steer clear from those lack and fear-based mindsets. And now you want to start creating those small actionable steps that you can take in order to start moving towards that reality you desire, right? Because of course, this is all just one piece of the whole. But when it comes to manifesting, the number one reason as to why we can't manifest our desires is because our limiting beliefs stand in our way. So I hope that this helped give you some motivation to start rewriting the stories that you tell yourself. I want nothing but to see you manifest your ideal reality because you do have the potential to create whatever it is you desire for yourself, and it all starts with those thoughts and beliefs. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and connect with me on my other social media platforms at EllDuclos, EllDuclos. I also offer coaching one-on-one calls to help you work through your limiting beliefs and recreate your story. So if you're interested in that at all, you can check that out on my website, EllDuclos.blog. All right, and until next time.